drama continues. Take a few seconds now to do your vows. Our speaker has been a Toastmaster since 2003 and is currently the president of one club, VP of Education for another, and also the Northern Division Governor for District 35 in Wisconsin. Currently working on his AC Silver, Rick is going to talk to us this morning about what he does in his spare time, what there is of it, and how we can perhaps put some sanity back into our own lives. Would you please welcome Rick Suydam with Everybody Needs a Hobby.
Are you stressed yet? I've heard that word at least a half dozen times already this morning. We haven't barely gotten started. Let's see, it's less than 2 weeks until Christmas, tick-tock, as a friend of mine would say. Let's see, we have holiday shopping, we have the inevitable office party revelry. Well, that's always fun. And the mother of all stress raisers, the family get-together. Oh, yes. But I'm here this morning to lower your stress level a little bit. And I dressed the part to illustrate, I want you to be comfortable, to relax, and take some time out for yourself. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, do you have a hobby? Anybody?
Yeah.
What is it? Would you like to share it with me?
I like to knit.
Do you like to knit? Wonderful. Nate?
Making beer.
Good hobby.
Genealogy, I look up dead relatives.
That's always fun. Anybody else?
Yoga.
Yoga. Excellent. Mary?
Practice the organ.
Practice the organ. This is good. Now, hobby is defined by Webster's as a pursuit outside one's regular occupation engaged in, especially for relaxation. I think that fits what we've described so far. And there was a poll done, and of course I looked this up on the internet, so you know this is true. Top 5 most popular hobbies. Keep in mind the definition is pretty broad. I don't necessarily agree with it, but here we go anyway. Number 1 most popular hobby of American people. What do you think it is? Take a guess. Anybody?
Baseball.
Baseball is a good guess.
Sleeping.
That was in there. That was.
Watching TV.
Watching TV was number 2.
Oh.
Very good. Number 1 was reading. Reading. Interesting. Number 2 was watching TV. Number 3 was spending time with family. Now maybe it's just me, but a hobby is something that gives you something tangible. My definition is a little more narrow. As hobbies, I remember growing up for photography, hence the wildlife shirt. A lot of people like to go to the Eagle Center, take pictures. Woodworking, gardening, something, either you can make something tangible or share with people. Now today, I'm going to share with you one of my hobbies. This is the annual Christmas card. Now of course, this isn't necessarily my hobby. I kind of married into it. Married, you know what I mean and where this is going. My wife, Teresa, is a printer, which is no surprise because her grandfather was a printer. And when I talk about printing, I'm not talking about, running something off your laser printer. I'm talking about working on what is literally now an antique printing letterpress. Now, to begin with, I'm going to show you these little pieces. I'll pass these around to show you. These are actual pieces of type. If you look at them, they're backwards because that's how you print, but you'll see the individual letters. Feel free to take them out, but keep in mind they are lead, and there's still some ink on there since we do use them. When you print something, now normally, print something like this off your computer, it's just hit print, you're gone. For a letterpress, each and every single letter has to be set. This is a painstaking piece of work. Why my wife loves it, at first point, I didn't really understand. But then I got involved with it. You see, her grandfather used to produce this card starting sometime back in the 1940s. When he passed away in 1984, she was just young enough to watch him run the printing press in the basement of his house. Now you have to understand, this is a very large press, would basically take up half of this space in here. It's huge. And it has, as he would say, invisible fingers that tend to grab things. This is an antique press. It has no such thing like a machinery garden. You have to be careful. So her objective was to stand behind the line and watch. And she was fascinated by this. But when her grandfather passed away in '84, she was too young to run the press. 10 years later, however, she was in college and ran into one of her professors who happened to know her grandfather. And she said, I'd like to work that press again. I want to continue producing this card. And he said, sure, I'll show you how to use it. And since that time, every year, she's produced this card. Now, a couple of things I want to point out to you. When you print on a letterpress, originally, you can print what we call graphics or cuts. This prints one sheet at a time, and you feed each one manually into the press, take it out into the press, run another one. And this is what we call a first run. We usually do this for colors. When you run a second run, you can add text to it. Each one of these printed images, text and image, are separate. You have to set them all up. Those little pieces you're passing around, plus the gold and the copper pieces or spacers to hold it together, takes a lot of time. But when it's done, you have something amazing. Now, if you'll notice, this is not something you normally see at your Hallmark store. Matter of fact, I'll pass a couple of these around, and you can take a closer look at them while I'm showing you the other one. What's interesting about this card is, number one, we have copyright issues. You have to create something original or get copyright from someone who will allow you to use that. That's the first step. Then you decide on the theme. This is last year's card, Christmas surprises. First thing we do is print the color run. Notice a little Santa Claus graphic. Second run, we print the text. And then you'll notice that there are more than one page here in different colors and different graphics. And some of them are printed on both sides. So that's 2 runs right there. The next step, you have to fold them. And then, if you look on the binder, or on the edge of it rather, it's not stapled, it's sewn. This is a labor of love. But the thing that's amazing about this whole process is when you work on this, especially with my wife and myself, and her mother will help us out, and sometimes the whole family will get together to fold and put it together, it's a really interesting experience. And every single year, going back, well, 50 years now, some of the people who have gotten this card from the beginning still collect every single one. This has become a real memento and a keepsake, not only for our family, but for people that we send them to. As a matter of fact, we just finished the last run for this year's card of the text, 310 sheets. 310 cards, that's how big the list has gotten now. We'll probably have 10 or 15 extras per year to year. But the whole point of this exercise is to make it clear that it's not just about us. It's fun, I mean, it's a good hobby, it's very relaxing, but it gives us something tangible, something we can share with people. And my question is to you, what's your hobby? What do you do to give yourself time to relax? Is it something you do by yourself? Do you read? Or do you just go fishing? You're in Minnesota, that's most people. Is there something that you can create out of it that you can share with people? Is there something that gives you some inner meaning that makes a difference for you? Because as much as we work to be conscious of our careers and our jobs, especially in today's economy, we tend to forget, especially this time of year and this season, what the importance of this is really all about. Family, the time to spend time with people, and to make something lasting, something important. And that's why I wanted to share this with you this morning. Because as much as your stress level may rise this time of year, maybe it's a good time to take some time out and to think of what you would like to do and what you could make for people. I mean, something like this doesn't cost us a lot of money. It's a lot of work to do it, but it makes it very, very special. And people remember this for years. So as you're going through that last minute Christmas shopping rush, as you're going through the holiday revelry or dealing with another family get-together, take some time out and think for yourself, what can you do to give yourself some time to relax, to do something special, to reflect on the real reason for the season. As a friend of mine used to say, after we would go out for work, after work for a couple of adult beverages, he would say, you know, we would have a lot less of use for the penal system in this country if everybody had a hobby. And a Toastmaster.